Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. Hopefully you guys are having a phenomenal Monday. If it is now Tuesday for you guys, I hope you guys are off to a phenomenal Tuesday for you guys. Whenever you're tuning, I hope you guys are having a great day. But we got audio. Let's get it. So with that being said, though, I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. Obviously, we talked on Friday, and I gave you guys a fight preview of the fights that are going to be going down on Friday. And then I also gave you guys a more in-depth preview when I went on Ryan Frazier's show. You guys can check that out now on my YouTube channel in the collab section. But I hope you guys had a great weekend. Today's show, we're going to primarily just be getting into what went down this weekend. Lots of big fights, a lot of things I want to break down and touch up on, and then a few boxing news as well. But I will let you guys know a little bit in advance now. I'm going to go more in depth on the boxing aspects in regards to the Boots Ennis possible fight and so many other things later on the week, probably on tomorrow's show, Wednesday's show. Today's show is primarily going to be dedicated to breaking down the fights that went down this past weekend and then get into some fight news that's come out over the past weekend or so. So we got lots to get on today's show, but as always, make sure to smash that like button for myself. It always helps the show out greatly if you're tuning in on YouTube. If you're tuning in on any platform, though, make sure to go and keep the chat active. Every comment that comes up on the show, I will then put that comment up on the screen. We'll go back and forth, talk about it. Let me know you guys' thoughts on in the boxing world, on what I'm saying, whatever it might be. So keep the chat active, whether that be on YouTube or on X or whatever platform you're tuning in on. And also, like I said, make sure to smash that thumbs up for me. That always helps out a lot. So let's get right to it, though. I did a live reaction to the Pro Box TV card that went down on Friday, and you guys could have catch that on the Ryan Frazier show. But I'm going to go give you guys a more in-depth thing about that, all right? I'm going to primarily talk about two fights. The first one I will mention because it was notable was Dominic Valle. He was the winner by decision and still remains undefeated. He defeated former WBA world champion Rene Alvarado. Here's the two fights I really want to get into from the Pro Box TV card. One of which is this, Katsuma Akitsugi. Now, he was on the show a little bit ago. Make sure to check out that interview if you have not already tuned into that interview before. But he put on a bodywork masterclass against Vincent Astrolabo. He knocked him down 5 times in the fight. The body shot did him in finally to get the TKO win. This is a man that if you're not familiar with the 118-pound division, bantamweight, keep your eye on this man. He's a very, very talented fighter, originally from Japan, now stateside in America. This is the guy to keep an eye on. He's fine for Pro Box TV. But I really want to spend time now on Tiger Johnson. I was wrong. I was wrong on the Ryan Frazier show. I was wrong on my show when I came out and I told you guys, listen, I think Tiger Johnson is going to come out here. He's not been looking the best in recent fights. I think Nicholas Flores will come out and win this fight. I was wrong. I will openly admit this 100%. I messed up. I was wrong in this prediction. I thought Flores was going to win this fight. I like the way Flores fought. I think he's a much more experienced veteran fighter. He's fought on better stages. And I thought that heading to this fight, the way we've seen Tiger Johnson fight in times recently, that Flores was going to go do a good work on him. Tiger was going to have his moments. But I did mention this. I said, if Tiger pulls off this win this weekend, that Tiger Johnson will eventually put himself in the top 15, top 10. He will be ranked, and he's going to be trending upward very quickly. And that's what I think we just saw. Tiger Johnson proved everybody wrong this past weekend. Tiger Johnson made a massive, massive statement when he went out there and defeated Nicholas Flores this past weekend. Absolutely massive. When you talk about those types of fights early in your career, that you kind of give a little bit of a preview of what you're capable of. This was that moment for Tiger Johnson. He woke everybody up. There has been a lot of different discussion about, is Tiger Johnson this, is he that, leading up to this fight. Tiger Johnson went on a gamble. He was the B-side in this fight. He went on Pro Box TV, and he made a statement. He woke everybody up this weekend. What he did to Flores that quickly in that fight, I think proved a lot of people wrong. Because even people that predicted Tiger Johnson to win that fight did not expect the domination in which he did in that ring. Tiger Johnson went from a man who was a up-and-coming trending prospect in boxing to now being looked at as, okay, this man is now a top 15 ranked contender. He's a legitimate threat, and it's time to see him in a bigger fight. This is the type of performance that Tiger Johnson just put together. He woke everybody up, and this, like I said, is that moment when you're young in your career where you look for that statement win. That moment where you can go out there and say, you know what, I have arrived. I'm ready to take the next jump. I am him. He did it this past weekend. I was thrilled to see Tiger Johnson perform the way he did. 4th round KO, got flaws out of there. Absolute domination from start to finish. Tiger Johnson made a statement this past weekend. Then let's head over to what happened on Saturday. Now, obviously, we know the main event was the biggest thing of this fight card, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on the main event. Of course I will. But let's go through some of the other fights that went down. One of the biggest shocking fights, and I don't know why it wasn't on the main card, but it is what it is, was Eric Priest, who is currently ranked in the top 15. He went out there and fought Carrera, and it was declared a split draw. Scorecards read this: 79-73, 75-77, 76-76. And Eric Priest now has a draw on his record. Very interesting fight right there. A man who has been trending upward in times past. Obviously, I said now top 15. He's still going to probably remain there. But just a very interesting scorecard. I thought he did win that fight, but it is what it is. Eric Priest came out with a draw in that decision. Very, very interesting there. Now, he is going to be a good prospect, so keep your eyes on him. And if you have not checked out our interview that I had with him on the show a few months back, go check it out on my YouTube channel. It is a great interview that I had with Eric Priest. He's a great guy. All right, cruiserweight. Robin Surun Safar, he defeated Derek Millers Jr. via unanimous decision, 98-91, 99-90, 99-90. This was a good performance. Obviously, look at the scorecards. He dominated. There was no disputing that. He had a very good performance at the cruiserweight division. And what's intriguing about this is that this fight was rumored to be the fight that Zurdo will return on. Obviously, we all want Zurdo to fight Jai Pataya, but Zurdo got hurt in his last fight, and when he returns, he's going to need a tune-up fight. The expectation is that Zurdo will now fight Safar in either January or February. This was a Golden Boy discussion here, so keep your eye on that one. Obviously, Zurdo will do his work with Robin and Safar in this fight, but Safar will get that fight opportunity most likely. We jump up to the big boys, heavyweight, and he continues to impress me. Joshua Edwards. He defeats Zeno Voris via 3rd round TKO, corner stoppage. Listen, Joshua Edwards is a problem. Now, it is way too early. As I've said, it won't be until another 12 to 18 months until we see Joshua Edwards actually take that jump where he's a legitimate contender at the heavyweight division. But from what we're seeing early on in his first pro year, Joshua Edwards is the goods. This man has all the ability to be a legitimate threat at heavyweight. I think he's got all the talent in the world to be a legitimate threat for the foreseeable future. And obviously, America is dying for heavyweights right now. I'm not saying Joshua Edwards is going to be that guy, the next Deontay Wilder, Mike Tyson, any of those guys that represent and are cornerstones and are world champions at the heavyweight division from the USA. But this man is very, very talented. I like what I've seen so far. And so far, I'd say it's very inspiring to see what Joshua Edwards has put forth for us. Then at the middleweight division, Amari Jones, he made his debut with Golden Boy, and he defeated Shady Gahmor via 3rd round TKO. Amari Jones is a very solid fighter, now ranked inside the top 15. And Amari Jones, like I said, made his Golden Boy debut, and this is got to keep an eye on. Obviously, it was not great opposition right here, but Amari Jones looked great, 3rd round TKO. Somebody keep an eye on. As I said, I'm not sold on him yet. I think he's got the talent to be a legitimate threat and a contender, but we'll see what happens. But yes, Amari Jones was very impressive this weekend. He took care of his responsibility. Let's go to the co-main event. I would say hopefully you guys watched the whole card, but I would honestly say this. Hopefully you guys, for some reason, happen to miss out on Darius Fulgham versus David Stevens. When I say that this fight might just be the worst fight of the year, I'm not joking when I say that. What we witnessed with DFG and David Stevens was an abysmal performance. It was declared a draw, and I really could care less. If they gave DFG the win, if they gave Stevens the win, if it was a draw, I could care less. All I wanted from this fight was for it to be over. And I like DFG. He's been on the show before. He's a great guy. David Stevens, I know him as well. Two guys that are solid. But the game plan, the way these two styles mixed in the ring, or just the mentality they had in the ring, whatever the case was, it led to one of the worst fights of the year. Might I even say the worst fight of 2025. When I say this was a fight that I don't think anybody should watch, this is what I mean by this. The scorecards read this, 96-94, 95-95 across the other two scorecards. Horrible outing. Absolutely horrible. Hugging nonstop. Guys did not really want to throw down. The styles were horrible. Everything about this fight sucked. It was just a ticking time bomb and saying, okay, let this fight get over with. Hopefully it's done, and it did end up concluding. We get to the draw, and a lot of time I'll say with draws, let's run it back in the future. Please don't run this fight back. We don't ever want to see these two guys in the ring ever again. Move on. I don't think it showed us nothing about David Stevens. It showed us nothing about DFG. Both guys are fine. I just think this fight with Styles just were horrible. We don't ever want to see this again. It was a miserable fight to watch. That's all I'm going to say about the co-main event. Let's go to what matters, though. Main event, Vergil Ortiz Jr., Erickson Lubin. All right. When the fight got announced, and I look back on what I was saying about it, I was never too high in this fight. I looked at Erickson Lubin. I was not very high in his performance against Holmes earlier this year. I thought Lubin was solid, but I was never sold on this fight in of itself. As time progressed, though, and the build-up stage happened, I was fooled into believing that maybe this fight was going to be good. Now, I always said Vergil Ortiz is going to win the fight. I made that very clear. But the promotion of the fight didn't lead me on to kind of say, okay, maybe Lubin has a chance. Yeah, my original gut thought when this fight got announced was accurate. This was not a competitive fight. This was not a good fight. And honestly, let me just say this. I don't want to take anything away from Vergil Ortiz. I'm going to go, after talking about Erickson Lubin, I'll go rave about how good a performance it was for Vergil Ortiz. But let me start with Erickson Lubin. What was the game plan? The first round was fine. He utilized his distance, the jab. Ortiz won that round, but still, it was something that I could see, okay, I see what he's trying to do in this fight. He comes out into the second round of this fight, and it just baffled me. What are you doing going on the ropes? Now, I heard Troy Isley, I was watching his live. He ripped into Coach K, and many other boxers did as well, and I don't blame them. What in the world was Lubin doing? Like, seriously, when you're Erickson Lubin, you've been in this game before. You have fought some of the best fighters in the weight classes that you have been fighting at. You've been a staple of 154 for the past many, many years now. You know what to do at this division. You've seen some of the great fighters. And it's never smart to go put your back into the ropes early in a fight. And secondly, why would you ever do that against a guy like Vergil Ortiz? And yet Erickson Lubin, second round comes around, and this man is fighting with his back against the ropes. This is legitimately suicide inside of a ring. You know that Vergil Ortiz exactly wants that to happen, and you put yourself in that position. One of the most baffling, dumbest decisions I've ever seen. Erickson Lubin was just asking for the fight to be over with, and I don't understand what the game plan was. I think Coach K needs to be held responsible for this, and I just am baffled by this. It was the stupidest thing. The second his back was on the ropes, I kept saying, get out of there, and he just stayed there. And of course, he then gets beaten up, tossed out, and gets brutally, obviously has to have a concussion and stuff. It was just a beatdown in the second round. I don't know what happened. I think it was foolish. It was a dumb game plan. He got caught, and then he got hurt badly. And thankfully, Vergil Ortiz Sr. went out there and brought the stool so he could sit down because he was buzzed really badly. And that's what we have there. So for Erickson Lubin, this was his last chance at a big fight. That second round was one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen. You can't go back in time. I think he's going to probably still return to the ring eventually, but his days of being a legitimate contender are pretty much over at 154 now. And obviously the Jesus Ramos fight, which Jesus was on the show on Friday, he said that if Lubin lost, that fight goes out the window. I don't know where Lubin goes from here now, but whatever his game plan was on Saturday night was atrocious. It had no intelligence whatsoever. Coach K needs to be held responsible for this. I don't think he should ever be in the corner for Erickson Lubin ever again. It was baffling. So there's that. As for Vergil Ortiz, as I said, I don't want to take anything away from this man. What we saw on Saturday night from Vergil Ortiz proved why Vergil Ortiz is the truth. Is he the best guy at 154? That's to be determined. Obviously, there's lots of great names. This is the best weight class in all boxing. But what we did witness on Saturday night was that Vergil Ortiz has that KO ability still at 154. We've been wondering. We've seen him fight guys like Adrian Majimov. We've seen him fight Sari Boachuk. And obviously, there were some questions that came from those fights. Well, Vergil Ortiz answered every single one of those questions now in this fight. He went out there, round 2, KO'd Erickson Lubin, a very, very good 154-pound fighter, and he made a statement. And I don't want to get into all the boot stuff right now, but let me be honest. This Vergil Ortiz victory over Erickson Lubin is more impressive than Boots' victory over Lima. Lubin's much more established, a great veteran. He has experience, and people thought Lubin had a chance in this fight. Nobody thought Lima was ever going to beat Boots Ennis. And yet, Vergil Ortiz goes out there right in round 2 and gets a devastating knockout to win this fight. Listen, you can have your thoughts about Vergil Ortiz and whether or not he is the best guy at 154. One thing we cannot deny is that Vergil Ortiz is one of the best fighters in boxing today. Whether that is inside your top 10 most talented fighters in boxing, he's at least top 15 at the bare minimum. This man is special. This man is legitimate. He's the real deal. He is the truth. Whatever you want to put in that category right there, this man is that guy. And I think we all can admit that this is a man who has a legitimate chance to be one of the next faces of the next era of boxing. That's how special Vergil Ortiz is, and he proved it. This man can deal with and hang with any of the top guys at 154. He is a problem. And listen, Vergil Ortiz is just getting started. What happened against Erickson, Lubin, Israel Madrimov, Sir Bochuk, this man is just beginning what's going to be a dominant run for Vergil Ortiz. He is the real deal. So that's my thoughts, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts. For everybody tuning in the chat right now, let me know your thoughts. What's your thoughts on the way Vergil Ortiz fought this past weekend? Who do you want to see him fight next? Was there things that you were shocked by this weekend? Just give me your thoughts in the chat. Keep it active. I want to know what you guys thought about this past weekend's fights. On top of that, though, we got a few other things to do, but make sure if you're tuning in on YouTube, smash that likes button for me. I definitely do appreciate that. That always helps with the show as well. Let's get into some boxing news, though, to wrap today's show. And we're going to kick it off with this one right here. 3 options have now been revealed for Anthony Joshua's next fight. Number 1, doing a fight on Turkey SchuZ Show in early 2026. Number 2, facing Jake Paul in December. Number 3, fighting on an upcoming Matchroom undercard. Very interesting. So I'm going to give you guys my hypothetical answer right here. I think it's going to be fighting on an upcoming Matchroom undercard. When you talk about him going on a Turkey SchuZ card, unless that means undercard or something along those lines, which would kind of be shocking on that regard, Anthony Joshua's not going to fight somebody good in his return. He's been outside of the ring for at least 18 months, depending on when he gets back in the ring. He will not be returning to the ring to fight somebody legit. We know he's going to do a big turn-up fight against somebody that's not very good, and that is what it is. So a Turkey SchuZ card would be a little bit shocking in my eyes. And on top of that, then, I think you're just going to place him on an undercard to fight a nobody. So if I were to make my prediction, it would be the Matchroom situation. Here's the most interesting one. Eddie Hearn did say that facing Jake Paul in December is an option. This was rumors all the way back when Jake Paul called him out, and I was shocked by that. But listen, it makes sense. If you're Anthony Joshua, it's an exhibition fight, so it doesn't even matter whatever happens on your record. Now, losing to Jake Paul would not be a good look whatsoever, but it's an exhibition. It doesn't really matter. So from that standpoint, Anthony Joshua would be in the clear. He can go fight a guy in Jake Paul who should easily be able to go out there and defeat, get back in the ring, kind of shake off some ring rust. It makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't know if Jake Paul actually wants that fight, but if it is on the table and you're Anthony Joshua, might as well go out there and just take that fight. If you're going to fight a bum, regardless of which way you're going to go about it, I would prefer you just go out there and take the big payday and fight Jake Paul. I have no problem with that. It's an exhibition, doesn't really matter. You can get some ring rust off, maybe the last couple rounds, just get some stuff and that rust off of you. You're getting paid big money, helps your brand name, image, and all those different aspects, and you should get an easy knockout win against Jake Paul. So if you're Anthony Joshua, that's the route I take. If I were to put money on it, I would go with the idea of him fighting on an upcoming Matchroom undercard instead, though. Let's head over to this now. Itauma. He has now been announced for when his next fight was. Remember, December 13th in Manchester. That was the original game plan. I think that card's now off the limits. And it appears that Frank Warren has new plans now. January 24th at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester, live on DAZN. Itauma will face Jermaine Franklin. January 24th. This is an interesting fight. I really, really like this one. Now, Itauma should have his way with Jermaine Franklin, but Franklin is a tough fighter, good chin, tricky fighter. Obviously, it was not a good fight in his last fight when he fought the Bud Crawford Canelo undercard, but still, solid opposition for Itauma as they continue to build him up. I like this fight right here. Here's what I love, though. Undercard is spectacular. Willie Hutchinson will be fighting Ezra Taylor. 2 very good light heavyweight fighters right there from the UK. Then Shaquille Thompson, Brad Pauls, another very good fight at 160 right there. And then we go another step further. Nathan Heaney fighting Jerome Warburton. And now this is a magnificent 7 fights on this card, but those 3 right there as the undercard are spectacular. So props to Frank Warren for putting this card together. I think it's going to be spectacular in the new year, January 24th, 2025. Last thing on today's show, unless you guys have any more comments you guys want me to discuss in the chat, is this. I just got announced a little bit ago. Liam Paro, Paddy Donovan is set for January 16th. Liam Paro and Paddy Donovan have reached an agreement for the IBF welterweight title final eliminator clash to land on the January 16th Nikita Zoo Michael Zerafa pay-per-view undercard in Brisbane. Winner will be mandatory challenger for Lewis Crocker. Lots to digest here. There's rumors of this fight coming together a little bit ago, but here's what's funny. A lot of people might be saying, okay, Paddy Donovan's lost the last 2 fights. How do you possibly go out there and get a title eliminator right away again? Here's why. Paddy Donovan was dominating Lewis Crocker in the very first fight until he got DQ'd, rightfully so. Second fight around, I think everybody can admit that, well, Lewis Crocker probably shouldn't have won that fight. The world champion should be Paddy Donovan. So when we talk about most talented fighters, Paddy Donovan's right there, and I think this fight's going to be spectacular. Liam Paro, Paddy Donovan as the co-main event to Nikita Zhu, Michael Zerafa, which is a massive domestic fight in Australia, is huge. I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but I love this matchup. I think styles make great fights, and this is two styles going to mix perfectly. Liam Paro, Paddy Donovan will be a phenomenal fight right here. But here's what's funny. Let's say Paddy Donovan defeats Liam Paro, becomes a title eliminator now for the IBF welterweight title. That means he has the opportunity to go out there and have a third fight, a trilogy now, with Lewis Crocker. So keep that in the back of your mind. It would obviously be very interesting to see them do a trilogy, run it back once again, and that could very well be in the line for 2025. Or 2026, sorry about that. With that being said, though, I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in to today's show. I will be back live tomorrow, so make sure to tune in on that show, though. But I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of you guys' day. I will see you guys back live tomorrow. May God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. God bless y'all.